Bowdoin College is a small liberal arts college in Brunswick, Maine. Originally I came to Bowdoin focusing on astrophysics, and then I shifted over after a semester to government. I've always been interested in the Marines. I mean, I had the Marine Corps poster since I was growing up. The recruiter called me up in about 2002, right when I was finishing up high school, and I met with him and decided I'd join the Marine Corps. Halfway through my junior year, I was deployed with the Marines to Fallujah, and that deployment lasted for about a year. A lot of the work we did was security patrols along a road. When you're in combat, you're not thinking about whether or not you're scared or the families or anything like that. You're just thinking about how you're going to accomplish the mission. Afterward, you may reflect upon that day and realize, well, maybe if the rounds were a little lower, life would be a little different. When you come home, it's a definite shock because it's such a different world, and you'll notice things like, I mean, you'd see a frisbee and it looks like from a distance a tracer round going, or you're driving along and you see some trash in the road and you immediately think that might be an IED. And it puts things in perspective. When coming back here, sometimes taking a test isn't the biggest thing in the world. Obviously, everyone is extremely curious of your experience, and at first you don't want to repeat the same story over and over, but at the same time you realize that there are not many people who have been deployed and come back to the campus. It really is a way for them to learn about the reality of what's happening in Iraq. This summer I'm working with the Marines in Alpha Company to support the training of the reservists. But we also provide memorial services for those fallen in combat and for those who have passed away. And the service we were at this morning was honoring a Marine who passed away and honoring the family for his service to his country. I graduated in December, and I was asked to run for the Maine legislature, and I decided to take that opportunity. And one thing that really stuck in my mind upon returning from Iraq was I met this girl who asked me for water instead of candy, and the realization when I was on the bus ride home from the airport was, we have one of the best nations in the world, and Iraq is obviously war-torn. And at the same time, the food bank here in Brunswick serves over 9,000 meals. So seeing that similarity and tragic reality really did motivate me to get more engaged in politics. And the other thing that got me really engaged was observing how a lot of veterans are not fully taken care of. The unfortunate reality is that there are an increasing amount of veterans coming home, and after multiple deployments, it really does affect that transition between you being in a combat environment, coming home to a civilian world. Currently I'm in the Marine Reserves, and I have a year left on my contract, and a year after that in what we call the IRR, where I can be deployed. So a total of 2 years where I can be deployed. The possibility of being deployed is always a real reality, but at the same time, you plan your life or you live your life according to working with the Marines, training as hard as you can with them, and in your civilian world, trying to do the best you can there as well. Realizing that that population is at such a disadvantage because of war for so long is very frustrating, because you're there to try to help as much as possible, but at the same time the population doesn't necessarily trust you. After being there for a deployment and seeing what the atmosphere and the situation is firsthand, it really reinforced a lot of the views of why I thought personally that the war was a mistake. That being said, as a Marine and a member of the Armed Services, it is my duty and honor and privilege to serve at the Commander-in-Chief, and I don't regret being deployed with my fellow Marines one bit. The Iraq War is definitely going to have a long-term impact on our society. I mean, when you see someone get out of a car that has veteran plates, it's no longer the aspect of an elderly person leaving that car. It's people around the age of 21 who are serving and dying for their country in Iraq. And as that generation grows up, it's another generation of veterans who we need to make sure that we take care of when they come home.